Good morning. This is Dwayne, and today I'd like to cover the subject of Occam's razor and what it has to do with piano playing and music. First of all, what is Occam's razor? It's the scientific and philosophical principle that the simplest answer is usually the best. Not always, but it's usually the best. Any scientist, any philosopher will tell you that. Now, what does that have to do with piano playing? Well, watch. When you start taking piano lessons, and I started taking piano lessons when I was about 6 or so, and thousands or probably millions of kids have done the same. And what do? You learn where middle C is on the keyboard, and then you learn D, and then you learn B, and you learn E, and then you learn A, and then you learn F, and then you learn G. Okay? Then you learn a whole scale. You learn that a scale looks like that. It's got 8 notes based on a formula of half steps and whole steps. Okay, but then you have to learn. Excuse me. Then you have to learn how long to hold each note. Okay, so it's not just a C, but it's a C quarter note that gets 1 beat, as opposed to a C half note that gets 2 beats. Excuse me again. As opposed to a dotted half note that gets 3, and a whole note that gets 4. So you have to keep all those straight. And what's true of C is also true of D. In other words, you can play D as a quarter note, or as an 8th note, or as a 16th note, or a 32nd note, and so on, and you have to learn all that. Then you have to learn where they are on the staff, not just where they are on the piano, but you have to be able to read music and know where middle C is. It's on that little ledger line between the staffs. But you have to learn what a staff is, and the lines, E, G, B, D, F, and the spaces, F, A, C, E. And the left hand, you have to learn the space, A, C, E, G, and the line, G, B, D, F, A. Okay? Now that takes time, doesn't it, to learn all that. And then after you learn that, then you can play things a little harder. So you learn to play like that, and then you learn to play like that. And then finally you play together. And then the whole subject of black keys comes up, and you learn what in the world is that, and what in the world is that, and so on. And you learn that that's a sharp sometimes, and that is a flat sometimes. So we're getting pretty complex already, and we're still in grade 1 or grade 1. And then finally, after you learn where the notes are on the keyboard and all the keys, and how to read that on the music, then you learn simple songs such as, maybe and so on, okay? And then you get more and more advanced, more and more complex, until finally, maybe someday you can play Prelude in C sharp minor, or Moonlight Sonata, or Furley's, and so on. Okay, so that all takes lots of years, and by then, out of every 100 kids that started the piano, 91 or so have dropped out. So there's 8 or 9 kids left. Okay, and then they get a little more advanced, and so on. But even out of those 9 or 8 that are left, what happens when they don't have any music in front of them? Somebody asks them to play Happy Birthday. Well, they don't have the music for it. Somebody asks them to play as an accompaniment at church, and they don't have the music. Or they have the music, but it's in the wrong key, and the singer needs to sing it lower. What do then? Okay? Or if they're playing, and the music's on the stand, and a wind comes up, somebody opens the door and the music blows off on the floor. What do then? Well, the answer is they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. And the reason they don't have a clue is because the teacher has violated the principle of Occam's razor. What has Occam's razor said? The easy solution is probably the best solution. And it certainly is in music. You can see you can know 1,000 facts about music, or more. You have to, you probably have to know 10,000 facts about music by the time you are a little more advanced. But the simple solution should have been taught from the beginning, that despite that complexity, there's only one melody at a time. Only one melody. I shouldn't say at a time, because there can be more when you get more advanced, but there's only a melody. In other words, there's only a tune of a song. And that's true whether you're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb or Furry Release or whatever. So kids that play the piano need to know that there's only a melody and there's only harmony. That's two or more notes playing together like that. And that includes intervals like that and chords like that and so on. And the third element of music is rhythm. There has to be some rhythm. In other words, those are three consecutive notes, probably quarter notes, but they could be syncopated. There's lots of variations to that, but that's rhythm. So kids need to know ahead of time that there's only melody, harmony, and rhythm that make up all the complexity of music. And that's a simple solution if teachers would teach that first, that there's only melody, harmony, and rhythm, and then break down each section into its components, and then gradually get more and more advanced. Then students would understand what they're doing. When the time came that the music blew off the piano, then they would know the chords that would take the place of the music up there, or they could improvise to some degree because they'd understand the concept. In other words, they'd understand the overall concept of music and how it works. So that's how the principle of Occam's razor applies to music and piano playing. We'll see you again tomorrow for another tip like that. Bye-bye for now.